You gentlemen are making a big mistake.
This here is Mr. Thurgood Marshall. This man is an attorney. You will treat him with the respect that he deserves.
My great-granddaddy, he was a slave. We're not slaves now. We've got weapons we didn't have before. We've got the law.
Baby, you go into these towns who've never seen a Negro lawyer.
Hey, boy!
You need to be careful.
NAACP.
Very good. You're going to Connecticut.
Joseph Spell, Negro servant attacked socialite in her own bedroom.
This case will show the world if a colored man can get a fair trial in the United States.
There's only 13 million Negroes depending on you.
Don't any of you have any confidence in me? I'd say you have enough confidence for us all. I only represent innocent people, people accused because of their race. That's my mission.
I never touched that woman.
I need a partner who the jury can relate to.
Sam Friedman.
Good to meet you, Sam. Hey, give me a hand with these, would you?
What have you got in here, cement?
Guns. Books, Mr. Friedman.
I had homies in the 11th grade doing gun trades.
You just sweep through town, stirring up all kinds of ugliness. My life is on the line here.
Hey, Attorney Friedman, hold on a minute.
What do you want?
You're one of us now, Sam. A real fighter.
Step away, you can't take the heat on the battleground.
Neither of them have been telling us the truth.
He attacked me!
I'd advise him to accept the deal.
You lied in a sworn statement. Why would you do that?
Why'd I lie? Because the truth gets me killed.
You can't deny me now. Tunnel vision.
If you want freedom,
Tie me down on a mission.
you're gonna have to fight for it.
Stop me now.
The only way to get through a bigot's door was to break it down.
You can't stop me now.
Anyway, all right, go. Sorry.
Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. It is the third week of Chadwick Bose's March and our second Chadwick Boseman film. This week we watched Marshall, not We Are Marshall, but he was Marshall in the movie Marshall from 2017.
Yeah.
A movie with a incredibly charismatic and maybe a little edgy Thurgood Marshall, and then an unexplainably attractive to women Josh Gad in sort of a weird stunt casting.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he was like weirdly miscast in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen a picture of the real guy? He looks nothing like him. I think.
Well, they showed him at the end of the movie. Didn't they show like his picture was during the credit roll? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it in the movie, but I think he was cast specifically to make Chadwick Boseman look better.
Oh, he's the handsome friend, or he's the ugly friend.
Yeah, I mean, does Chadwick Boseman really need that? He's already
no, he doesn't. But if you put like Dan Stevens on the other side, like you know what I mean?
It does make it makes an interesting parallel against Dan Stevens when you've got like this little like troll talking up to like Aryan god Dan Stevens.
Also, it was made by Reginald Hudlin, who's a huge comic book guy and writer.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you, Sean, is that the same, the comic book writer, the guy that wrote the Black Panther stuff? And all that?
I assume it's also like a somewhat veiled reference to Daredevil.
Oh, like Froggy Nelson or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. Gogs, did you watch anything this week?
I fucking tried and I didn't successfully do it, so moving on.
Fuck it. We all watched Justice League, the Snyder Cut. We should have just made it a fucking episode. Fuck it. I am just gonna say that it's the best Zack Snyder movie but it's still not very good. It's an hour out of 4 hours is pretty entertaining, but you need to cut that movie down so much. Every scene went on too long. The first 2.5 hours of that movie are insufferable. It just goes on and on and on and on. But then at the end, it's kind of cool. Like the ending is great. And they actually
the last hour is fantastic.
It's great.
The final battle, the way they recut it from the original movie, it's so good. It's like, it's crazy.
And they actually act like a team.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably go ahead, Alec. Go ahead and finish because I might go on for a second.
I was gonna say you can see why Ray Fisher was furious with Joss Whedon because he got like 3 minutes of lines in the original cut, and in this he's like the main character.
Yeah.
And he's so fucking good. His story is compelling. Like Cyborg's character is compelling.
He's the only interesting character in the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he also kind of makes Batman totally unnecessary in the movie.
I also agree with that.
Yeah, I really, really loved The Flash, but he wasn't interesting. He was just... I liked him. I enjoyed his performance.
The Flash wasn't annoying as fuck in this movie. He was still the comic relief, but his lines were actually funny, and it wasn't like, what's brunch? What is all this? It wasn't it wasn't him vamping like a goddamn Paul Feig movie for 10 minutes every scene, which I'll give it credit for.
I'm going to make a weird statement here, and I agree with you guys almost entirely at how it functions as a movie unto itself, but I love this movie in that way that I love Jupiter Ascending, because it's a movie for no one. It's too long for regular moviegoers. It's not for really comic book movie fans because it's so grim and kind of bizarre. And then it's not really for DC fans because it takes so many liberties with the characters. I think I'm not going to give him credit for it because he's kind of a dummy, but he made this really kind of meta fiction. It feels like a movie literally from an alternate reality or an alternate history where movies are 4 hours long and they stop to do exposition and nobody knows how sound cues work. So every time a character comes on the screen, that fucking stinger, but just for Wonder Woman.
That fucking Wonder Woman song 8,000 times. And Zack Snyder, and we've talked about this on the show a million times with him and his other movies, but God damn, is he awful at his song cues. It's every 5 seconds there's some slow fucking reimagining of a popular song, and it's
I meant to tell you last night, TJ, when the credits were playing, Hallelujah played over the credits.
Of course.
I was where's all the fucking Leonard Cohen?
It was at the end. He grabbed it at the very end.
I can't love this movie anymore for just being this weird artifact that shouldn't exist, and every time I go to the slow motion, I like to pretend that it's just the time stream breaking.
But you did watch it in real life?
Yeah, I did. I watched a miniseries because it's not a movie.
Yeah. Alec and I powered through the whole thing in one sitting.
I love that he's so he's such a Chad now that he's I have to have 3 acts. Well, I'm gonna have 6 acts and I'm gonna name all of them. You know,
and an epilogue. That is completely unnecessary. The epilogue is so fucking stupid.
I couldn't disagree with you more because it's the last part of the epilogue 5 or whatever, the very last part of it, is Zack Snyder's thesis statement as a human being. It's crass and weird and unnecessary and beautifully photographed. Again, I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder the director. I am a fan of Zack Snyder the photographer.
He does know how to make some iconic imagery. I'll give him that.
I would, if they said we're launching Justice League Edgelord or whatever that movie's going to be at the end, tomorrow, I would go see it because it's so it is so Zack Snyder. It's almost falling in on itself.
So they in the DC comic books. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess. I'm sorry if we're going to talk about it.
It's really, you're not really spoiling much. So anyway, what I was saying was in the DC comic books, they've just done this new thing where they have the multiverse, right? They have the DC multiverse where all these different realities exist. Well, now they have the dark multiverse.
Okay.
Where it's basically all of the evil Elseworlds characters happen. And it's now that's what Zack Snyder needs to make. The dark DC universe movies. And you could do it now. like a character you guys probably know. I don't know if you've read any of the comics about him, but they have the Batman Who Laughs, which is basically what if Batman was the Joker. Right. And it's a cool character design. Like the character, honestly, has been like overused at this point, but the design is fantastic. He looks like a cross between like Batman and Judge Death from Judge Dredd.
Like kind of like a setup bite almost.
Yeah, it's great. But like that's what Zack Snyder needs to make. If they announced like the Zack Snyder helmed the Batman Who Laughs, I'd be all into it. It'd be great. But this movie is so uneven, dude. Like it's so like. I don't know. Me and Alec were watching it, and the first, like, it's so goddamn plotting in the beginning. Like, if you're supposed to watch this episodically, which I think was what they wanted at first, like, those first, like, 3 episodes, like, nothing happens. Like, it's so fucking slow and just, like, I don't know. Like, it's edited weird and, like, and I get it, right? Like, because this is...
Well, it's also supposed to be 2 movies, right? Like,
well, I don't know about that, right?
Okay.
I think that there are some ideas that were supposed to be in the second movie. I don't know. I can't answer that. But I will say that I think it's interesting that like it's like I feel like what this really is, because if let's say Zack Snyder got to release a theatrical version, it wouldn't have been this movie, right? This is like the Blu-ray. This is like the Watchmen Ultimate Cut. This is like
this is the Redux.
This is like the Blu-ray release. This wouldn't have been released in theaters. I can't imagine them being like, yeah, put this in theaters.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how much of this, especially with some of that epilogue, is a direct like kind of response to what happened with his family.
Yeah,
there are some noticeable things that the scene where Barry saves Iris. Or no, where Batman and Barry they take off in one of his cars. There's a very noticeable suicide prevention hotline.
I didn't even notice that.
That's been added into it.
Yeah.
And then just like kind of like I know thematically he's like this anyway, but like there's a lot of like father and son, like father and child, like I brought you back, that kind of stuff. So I wonder how much of that is there.
I don't know. I know this sounds stupid, but like. If you made another cut of this movie and you knocked it down to maybe 2 hours, I think there's a good movie in there. But like,
so we had to take the Whedon cut and add 2 hours to make it the Snyder cut, and then cut it back down, and then we get the good movie.
I think it could be good in 2 hours because there's good things in it. Like I will say, I will give this movie credit. All of the scenes now make sense, whereas the like Josh Whedon one. There were so many sequences that just didn't make any fucking sense. Like
when we were watching it, like every time we'd be like, "Well, why are they doing that?" They'd either answer it, like almost like they were directly speaking to us, or show within a scene or two why they were doing.
Yeah,
what they were doing.
Every scene made sense. The characters actually had motivation. Cyborg was a real character and not just a guy sitting around. Like There's a lot of positives.
This is the first time that Zack Snyder has gotten Superman right in his 2.5 movie try.
1,000%.
When Superman shows up at the final battle, we were both like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and that scene is awesome when he's like ground and pounding fucking Steppenwolf and blasting him with his heat vision.
Oh my god,
that rocked!
That might be the best thing in any of the Justice League movies or any of the DC movies they've done.
That was so
Superman
great.
Just beating him to death.
Oh yeah, he fucks him up. Like he is so Zack Snyder fucking uber mensch at that point.
And even when they're like, I love that they're like showing like Cyborg like with the mother boxes. But they make sure you can still see Superman beating the shit out of Steppenwolf in the background.
But
Cyborg's fantastic. Like I still, but the things that were bad about. Well, let me ask you guys a question.
Sure.
How much of this movie did you realize you didn't remember, even though we saw it twice at least? Like, I'm like, I don't remember what's in the original cut besides all the bad jokes.
I remember very little. I remember
there were a few scenes where I was like, did I see this? Or do I remember this from a trailer? Or was this in the original cut?
Doesn't the theatrical open, like, with it has that bank robbing scene, but it also has that scene with mine hunters. Where Batman's
that's not even in this movie at all now.
Which is great, because that scene sucks.
That scene's terrible. But it also opens up with like the whole Superman memorial, and that's not in the movie either, which is good. You don't need that.
Oh, the video tribute to.
Yeah, you didn't need all that.
Something else I did enjoy about this is like, well, you know what I think it is? I was thinking about like why I enjoyed it so much, besides the fact that again, it's just so like insane that it shouldn't and doesn't need to exist. Is that like they've been trying to make Marvel movies for so long, it's kind of a breath of fresh air for them to just go back to their grim edgelord gray movies.
Yeah, and this movie is very gray. This movie has like no color palette. Oh my god.
Which I think honestly,
sepia.
Besides that, like it's kind of boring, that color palette. I think it works in this because there's so much CG in it. I think it hides a lot of it.
Yeah.
And but those designs are still like the Steppenwolf design is still
design
awful.
Is so bad, and like for some reason his armor like moves like when he's just like, what is that?
How does anybody in the Snyderverse sleep? Because everybody's like clanking and whirring constantly.
Yeah. Like I saw side by side. I was looking at some stuff about it today, and like for as bad as the redesign was, it's still better than the original Steppenwolf design. The original design was awful.
Well,
too.
Steppenwolf still just sucks. By the way, that didn't get fixed in this. Like he's still just a shitty villain. Like,
but Darkseid looked awesome.
Darkseid was cool.
Yeah.
Though in the flashback to when Darkseid got defeated the first time makes no fucking sense because he just gets hit with an axe once and then he just like flies off. It's like, what a bitch.
Well, I also like they did a good job. I know they did like over exposited, and there's that. I'm thinking of that Wonder Woman scene specifically where she literally stops the movie to explain everything that's ever happened.
Yeah, but she's also still bad in the movie.
Yeah, she's terrible.
Kal-El, no.
That's the thing that I thought they might cut out of this movie because that still makes no sense because they didn't really know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. She didn't know him until BVS, right? So she didn't. Yeah.
But you remember
if you want to get into people not knowing each other.
Oh yeah.
The Aquaman movie makes even less sense now.
He meets Mera in this movie, but then Aquaman the movie comes out a year later, and he has no clue about any of them except Willem Dafoe.
Well, you know, Zack Snyder was like, "I'm not going back and making it continuity with the rest of this bullshit. I'm Zack Snyder."
Well, that's kind of what we said. Is they were like, you know what, fuck it, just do whatever you want.
Also, Willem Dafoe in that wig is like the funniest fucking thing. He looks so fucking ridiculous in that outfit.
The original cut, remember, it's like Steppenwolf's like,
how do you like me? Try that.
the Kryptonian's dead. Now we can get there. And I was like, wait a minute, there hasn't been a Kryptonian there for all this time. But in this movie, they actually explained that he's been going from like world to world.
Yeah,
like,
he's trying
non-stop.
He's trying to conquer, what was it, like 50,000 worlds or something.
Also, one thing that they mentioned in this movie that I don't think they mentioned in the other movie, but they also don't address, is that all those parademons used to be actual people.
Yeah, that was cool.
So when Batman's like murdering everybody, like he's just killing people, which is fine because I think we've established that Zack Snyder's Batman is like a wanted. He's like a what was the Authority character's name?
Oh, Midnighter.
Midnighter, yeah.
Oh, also I got to give Zack Snyder credit because that stupid Russian family isn't in the movie now, which was totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and they took all that weird color timing out of it with the flowers, like the terraforming, and it's still kind of a terraforming plot, makes a lot more sense in this movie.
Yeah, everything makes more sense in this movie. I will give it credit there. Again, I can't get over the runtime. Like the runtime is just, it's too much.
And honestly, like I know this probably isn't going to be a popular opinion, like just worldwide, but Batman is the worst part of this movie.
He sucks. He's terrible. Also, like I said this to Alex, and this is I don't know, less a criticism of the movie and just a criticism in general. But like, should Batman be the guy getting the team together? That seems like a Wonder Woman job.
Well, I mean, he's got the resources. That makes sense. But like, my thing is,
I feel like a Batman character is the guy that's reluctant to join the team. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because the movie Batman character is different than the comic.
Well,
character.
The problem with his character in general in these movies is like his weird mood shifts between movies.
Well, especially considering that he's like a fucking murderous psychopath in BVS, and this he's like, I don't know what you would call him in this.
Yeah, but like his function as the member of that team is to be like the master strategist, but Cyborg is already like as a baby is already a million times more effective at that than Batman is. So what does he really bring to the table?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, can we talk about the weird Martian Manhunter cameo that makes no fucking sense? And
Do you know why that's in there?
No, please enlighten me.
He wanted to use Jon Stewart to fly in at the end.
Cool. Well,
and they wouldn't. Warner's wouldn't let him for some reason because they had it earmarked for one of their other million projects.
Oh,
so he just changed it to Martian Manhunter.
But it's weird because, well, first of all, it's the same actor that played the general in Man of Steel. So are they implying that he was the general the whole time in Man of Steel?
Yeah, that was supposed to be implied in Man of Steel, but it got cut.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't excuse how jarring it is in this movie, but that's why it's
so he shows up earlier in the movie. Then they have the climactic battle, which, by the way, if not for Flash, they would have lost. And he doesn't show up, so it's like at the end that Flash shit was great,
amazing. Yeah,
it's the best thing that they've done in any of their movies. That ending sequence is awesome.
I love that Silas Stone gets a lot more time, and he has a really great death scene in that movie.
Yeah, I kept calling him Miles Bennett Dyson. Alec was really enamored by that joke.
It was a good joke. Scene is very Dr. Manhattan. Lot. It's almost the same scene, but I mean,
they should have just made Billy Crudup Cyborg's dad also.
Yeah, it's weird. They both Flash and Cyborg both have parent. They almost all the characters have some kind of parent plot, but the only one that is even remotely affecting is the Cyborg one.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit about anybody else.
No, it's cool because I also started watching Doom Patrol yesterday. I watched 4 episodes of that.
The Cyborg in that is great.
Yeah, but the rest of the characters are also just as interesting, which is kind of... I'll put it out here right now, hottest take. The Doom Patrol TV show is the best thing that either of those two companies has put on screen at all.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Also, Crazy Jane is smoking ass hot.
For show.
Oh my god. Diana Guerrero, look her up. She's smoking hot. She's so hot, she's terribly miscast, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you ever read the comics.
Yeah, I'm really glad this thing exists. It's so such a weird thing.
I mean, I agree with you on that point, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch it again at some point.
Maybe just the last 45 minutes I'll watch it.
Now I can skip through scenes. I can watch awesome parts and then jump through.
That's a fair
point. It's as long as it was, and as the beginning, I'll grant you is not very.
Well, the beginning is 2 hours long.
You know what I like about it?
It really doesn't get. So for me, it didn't get engaging until they showed the dark side invasion attempt. That was the first part. I was like, well, this is awesome.
The thing I think, and I know Zack Snyder doesn't understand subtext or anything, but Justice League comic books are kind of stupid too. But I think the thing he does understand, and I think this is more just speaking to him, the way he views things, is that those Justice League characters are not like Marvel characters where they're supposed to be the world outside your window. I understand human motivations. These are all Greek and Roman mythology writ large, and I think he understands that. So they're all super iconic, and the movie feels like an epic, in that stupid old Hollywood Ben-Hur sort of way, not like a David Lean movie or anything.
Well, I mean, that's the way he described BVS, but I don't think it works in BVS. It works better in this context. I'll give him that. I think that. And again, I think the strength of this movie is that the characters are actually much better, and they feel like a team. I know it's dumb to say, but when they all fight Steppenwolf, they fight them together, and it's cool.
Yeah. There's I try to take those slow motion shots as splash pages almost. It's like a comic book filled with splash pages, right?
I can't. It's too much.
No, I get it. I don't think it's a good choice, but I think it's purposeful. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's he just uses it too much, and it's just enough already, man. Do another trick, a barrel roll.
I'm glad they cut most of the jokes out of it, but they also left my least favorite line in the movie, and it's when she's "Who are you?" When she gets through that, and he's like,
we're a band of reactionary terrorists. I'm like, nobody like would call themselves a reactionary terrorist.
For everybody, that scene still makes almost no sense because they're like, we're gonna blow up this place to like bring back the Stone Age or something. It's like, what?
Yeah,
and then,
reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Yeah, and then that bomb is gonna blow up like 4 city blocks, but she just throws it like 100 feet in the air and it's fine. And then like the thing I hated, like, well, not the hated the most, but one of the things I hated the most is that Wonder Woman just kept doing this thing where she just hit her bands together and it made this like big explosion. And she I guess vaporized Roose Bolton by doing that when she could have just like punched him. But when she did that, she like blows up the entire front of the building, probably killing hundreds of British police officers.
There is no like gray area in this. People are straight up dead, like all over the place. What was I gonna say? The Wonder Woman thing.
Oh, also the scene with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke, it makes a lot more sense now because Lex Luthor tells him who Batman is, and it's like, oh, okay, the scene makes so much more sense now.
But when Gal Gadot, like, she turns around and there's that one little kid cowering, I was waiting for her to go, "Are you Palestinian?" Like, I can't get that.
Great lines.
Like, I can't look at her and not think of that.
Anyway, I don't know, man. I respect your opinion, Sean. I see what you're saying.
Well, hang on. Before we get too crazy, I don't think it's a good movie. Let me put that on Front Street.
I get it.
How is the Joker in it?
It's terrible.
Better.
That scene is so fucking stupid.
Oh, I loved it. I want that.
Go ahead.
No, I want r/Justice League or whatever, like that fucking Reddit edgelord movie so bad. Because, again, it is Zack Snyder boiled down into 3 minutes where Batman says, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
Yeah, but there's 3 F words in this movie, because that's what makes it a tough movie. Alec pointed out, what happened to all his tattoos? The Joker, like, in the future doesn't have all his tattoos.
I don't know. I did, like, all the badges.
Yeah,
but, no, that's awful. It's, like, one of the worst things ever put to film, but
it's so
if it was
bad.
2 hours long, I would go watch it right now.
And also, the thing that makes that scene even worse is that it's like a literal nightmare. Like Batman, like, oh my god, thank God it was just a dream. Like,
he wakes up
and conviction and like having
Ben Affleck. He looks like a deep fake at the end.
Oh yeah, he looks
like it doesn't look like his face.
They must have shot that later because, that's what I told Alec. Like, he looks like one of those like deep fake faces.
Well, you know what? I had no idea that Kevin Costner scene in the other movie was a pickup. Like, I would have assumed that was in the original movie, and thank God it's not because it's like the worst scene in that movie.
Fucking sucks. There's another scene that I forgot about.
Affleck's Batman ever met Jared Leto's Joker?
Yeah, well, they imply that they did.
I guess in
Suicide. They're both in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but remember when he goes to get Harley Quinn and
that's right, like
him or whatever?
He jumps on the Lamborghini or whatever.
When he punches Harley Quinn in the face, and the audience I saw it with started clapping.
The audience you saw it with, meaning us?
Yeah, well, you didn't clap.
I was like, dudes rock under my breath.
But also, guys, remember the Ben Affleck Batman has been Batman for 20 years.
Right.
So there's a history that they never got into. Like that Joker killed Robin. That's why the Robin suit is in the Batcave in that movie.
Apparently, the scene at the end, the nightmare scene, according to something I read from Zack Snyder today, is the only new footage in the movie.
Oh, really?
Everything else is stuff from.
Holy shit!
That was just cut, that they re-edited and like finished and polished and.
You're right, man. If I was Ray Fisher, I would just straight up murder Joss Whedon.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm glad you brought that up, Alec, because before we move on, can we talk about the insanity that they had all this shit basically in the can, and they're like, nah, like. Why
because
not
they wanted to make a Marvel movie. Like,
just release this movie. Like, it would have done better than the other one.
Well, they still had to whittle it down to 2 hours, right? Like, you're still not going to.
But again, if this is like the Blu-ray. If they put this cut out, or they put this version of the movie out into the theaters, you would have had a 2-hour version of this movie.
Bro, I think
isn't that what Joss Whedon did? I mean, I didn't see
No, I think this is
watch
footage
the movie.
for 2 movies. Like, I think that it's setting up a third movie where he's like, we'll do it the old way. Like, I think that's meant to be a third movie.
You're probably
like,
so wait, the Jared Leto nightmare scenes at the end of the movie?
It's the
yeah,
epilogue.
thankfully it's not in the middle of the movie and
Fucking
although it
is alluded to.
But that part that he alludes to is not in that dream, so I guess it's 2 separate dreams.
But Flash is wearing the same outfit that he was wearing in BVS. Yeah.
Is there going to be a Snyder cut of Batman versus Superman?
There already is.
Is it still terrible?
I've not watched it. We joked about watching it for the show about 50 times. I have never sat down to watch it.
If they made from what I understand, like these Justice League movies are dead now. Like they're like Warner Brothers has moved on.
Well, yeah,
like they're going to do other DC stuff, but
I don't know.
This.
Wait till they get all the streaming numbers back before you make that declaration. Because if 9 million people sign up for HBO Max,
if they make the third one with Darkseid coming to Earth and it follows the second half of this movie, like I'd be all in to watch that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, this
100%.
movie shouldn't have happened, but the only reason it did is because a bunch of fucking weird neckbeards on Twitter went ape shit and wouldn't stop talking about it.
But not only that, too, I think that COVID and that kind of production halt also helped this movie get made. You know what I mean? I think in a normal movie year, this probably still wouldn't have gotten made, even with the internet uproar.
Yeah, like if people aren't filming and you can just reuse what you've already filmed.
They had. I mean, like Sean just said, that weird epilogue is like basically the only new footage, or Alex said it, sorry. So they had this whole fucking movie in the can. So like they had a movie they could release, you know what I mean, with a little bit of like, editing here and there.
And one more thing I'll give this movie credit for, minus the stings because they're terrible. Like the score that they replaced the Hans Zimmer score with is much better.
Oh, like I don't know. That fucking that guitar shit that Zack Snyder does every time there's an action scene.
I know, but I think but again, when you're talking about like the tone of this movie, like I think it works better than cramming a Danny Elfman score into it.
I don't disagree, but man, that guitar shit got really irritating. Anyway,
it is.
All right.
However,
it's a mixed bag.
Let's get into Five Knuckle Shuffles.
For Justice League?
Yeah. No, for the whole episode.
Oh. All right, let's talk. Guys, you said you didn't. Did anybody else watch anything?
I watched the movie.
I did, but...
yeah.
You want to talk
documentary? At this point, I can save it for next week. Like, we're already 40 minutes in.
Real quick, I watched... I think it's called like Lakeview Mall. It's a documentary about a dying mall. It's really boring. I thought it was going to be more about just kind of like the decline of malls in general, but it's just following around these hillbillies for like 2 hours. And then I went to watch the Blockbuster documentary, but I saw like as soon as I went to click on it,
Kevin Smith,
and I said nope.
I almost watched that too. The last Blockbuster I saw. Yeah.
That's it.
Did anybody watch Falcon and Winter Soldier's out right now?
I watched it. I think Sean watched it.
No,
I watched it today.
I got turned off immediately when I found out that the villain was socialism.
Yeah, kind of. Alec, you watched it?
Yeah, it was fine. Like
I enjoyed it.
It wasn't weird. It just felt like a normal Marvel thing.
It felt like Winter Soldier 2.5.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I want
and like. Yeah, like I really can't wait for the Loki show to come out with the Time Variance Authority.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
But like it wasn't bad. Well,
no, I enjoyed it. The opening sequence was really good.
And this one's only 6 episodes, so they just got a few weeks to bang it out. It's not WandaVision 10.
It's also good. I just like seeing Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Shaw. Like I like those two guys. I like those characters. So,
do you think they'll hook up?
I hope so.
God.
Yeah.
And I want to know who the fake Cap is. Is it going to be Scott Walker? Is it going to be
I don't
Nomad?
know. It's
Nomad's
name. Kurt Russell.
It's Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell?
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Well, that's cool.
Isn't Nomad's name Jack? Like, and that's it?
No, he's got a whole name, I think.
Well, which Nomad? Because you remember when they had that Nomad with the
that looks like
ponytail?
Lorenzo Lamas?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
That's right, Renegade.
I hear that, Renegade. All right, let's get into what we watched this week, which was Marshall, starring Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, Dan Stevens.
Guys, you haven't said anything all episode for once. What happened in this movie?
So you start with a little text about how Thurgood Marshall was the only lawyer under the employ of the NAACP at the time, and it is
also he's an airport like that Transformer Metroplex or Omega Supreme.
So he's so you find out the movie. It starts in it's pre World War II, but just barely. So it's like what 1940, 1938, something like that.
I think it was 40 or 41.
So there have been 1, 2, 3. There has been 6 nomads, and the one nomad that Sean's talking about, his full name was Jack Monroe.
Okay.
But Steve Rogers was nomad at first when U.S. Agent was Captain America.
Oh yeah, that's when he renounced the government.
Yeah, that was rad.
Yeah.
Then you had Edward Furbell, Jack Monroe, Ricky Barnes, Ian Rogers. So 5. Sorry. Continue, guys. Very important nomad news.
Well, it's good. Shout out to nomads. So now, so you're introduced to the titular Thurgood Marshall arguing a case of, I think his name was like Billy Wilde or something like that. It's a real case because I looked it up. I was watching it. It was in Mississippi or Alabama where a confession got beat out of this kid. He's like making this compelling argument, and it's cross-cut.
It's Oklahoma, and that in real life happened after the events of the movie, I believe.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Well, I was also he lost that case.
Yeah,
so.
And that actually, I was going to mention this. I'm glad you brought it up already. I think that movie would have been better than this.
It's a more interesting case.
Yeah.
So now, and he also takes an L, so he got Rocky vibes. So
yeah,
for the sequel,
Rocky is the story of the black struggle in America.
So now
he was Italian, and the Italians are America's blacks.
So
yeah,
it's crosscut with Josh Gad. Cheating some poor crippled lady out of some bus money because someone signed a form incorrectly, and you're sort of like led down the opinion that he's kind of like a no good Nick, like just sort of a scumbag lawyer.
Yeah.
Now,
well, yeah, he's an insurance lawyer, so of course he is.
Yeah, he's like an ambulance chaser type.
Also,
yeah, he has a runny nose. So you've got the. So now you're back to the NAACP, and Thurgood Marshall has been giving his latest assignment. Choose to accept it, otherwise the building will explode. And they send him. You get treated to what I think is probably genuine 1940s newspaper propaganda about a woman who had allegedly been raped and attempted. A white woman played by Kate Hudson was allegedly raped and attemptedly murdered.
Attemptedly murdered
by her driver.
Is that against the law now to attemptedly murder?
They give out Nobel Prize for attempted physics. So she is accusing Joseph Spell, played by Sterling K. Brown, of doing this, of raping her and trying to kill her by throwing her over a bridge and then throwing rocks at her. And
the rocks part is very strange.
Yeah, but it works. It works in the courtroom scene with the pebble. That made me smile. So
what is this, Gaza? Who kills people with rocks anymore?
Right? Where's Gal Gadot to weigh in on this one? So they send Thurgood Marshall up there, and he and Josh Gad. This is how these star-crossed lovers have their meet cute. Josh Gad is supposed to basically like vouch for Thurgood Marshall so that he can practice law in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And Josh Gad, he likes being a civil attorney. He doesn't want any trouble with any of these, as one of the members of his temple said, schwatzes. And he's like, fine, I'll do it because his brother agreed to it. They show up, and you are now met with Dan Stevens, who is playing the prosecutor, and he is as he traces his lines, his genealogy to when the Anglos met the Saxons, and about his,
he's really good in the movie, though. He's very
wonderful in the movie. He's a great scumbag.
If you need a smug white, you call Dan Stevens.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's the smuggiest. And then you've got, and I can't, James Cromwell, the incomparable James Cromwell. Is the judge that will be hearing the case, and you find out that James Cromwell's character and Dan Stevens' character's fathers were law partners together. So basically all the cards are stacked against them, plus everyone is New England racist in Bridgeport, Connecticut, not Southern racist, like you would find south of the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah, like that weird Babe in the City reference where he's like, that'll do pig, but he doesn't say pig, is not very welcome.
So you've got I like
that joke.
Thank you.
You get treated to some newspaper propaganda of like a gorilla holding a lady. You're hearing all this fallout from all of these African American domestic workers losing their jobs over this. At some point, you're at a jazz club with Thurgood Marshall, Langston Hughes. I can't think of her name, but the woman who wrote
Zora Neale Houston, the woman that wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God.
Correct. And I don't know who the other fellow was. Is that supposed to be like Langston Hughes' boyfriend or something?
No, it's supposed to be Charlie, the lawyer that they reference. What the fuck is his name? Charles something. He's another lawyer, I believe.
Lindbergh.
That supposed to be.
Yeah, Charles Lindbergh. So
yeah. He was a fly dad.
That's the one where Liz walked in and was like watching the movie with me. She's like, "How many famous people are they putting at this one table?" I was like, "I don't know. Maybe this happened."
Yeah, that scene is atrocious.
Yeah, it's like a little Mount Rushmore in a jazz club. So now,
also, I hope you like jazz because it will be played no matter if it's appropriate to what's happening in the movie or not.
And it will be played aggressively, and it will be played without consent in Josh Gad's car. So
it's about the notes that you don't play, Gogs. I don't know if you know that.
I could do that at home.
God, do I hate jazz. So now, I do. So it's all flipping oops and dibbly bops. And
all jazz? Just
all the jazz I've ever heard. Maybe someone will play some jazz I like one day. So now, use a stick. Don't use a brush on a drum, please. Now,
what a weird line in the sand. So no brushes, huh?
So
take that, Dean Krupa.
Yeah. Josh Gad reluctantly, because of James Cromwell's implied overt racism, will not allow Thurgood Marshall to even speak in his courtroom. So now Josh Gad has been shanghaied into arguing the case and basically being the puppet to Thurgood Marshall. And then they have what amounts to the begrudging respect relationship of each other, a la Chris Pine and Denzel Washington in Unstoppable, where they finally understand that we can stop this train together that is reportedly unstoppable. So they do their research. They interview Sterling K. Brown, who I thought Sterling K. Brown doesn't do a lot in this movie, but I thought what he does was really great. I really thought he was good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's very good.
I feel like
I didn't think anyone
in the movie.
Say again, Sean?
I feel like he's wasted in the movie. Like, and it's, I'm sure, I will probably wait, and I know I'm talking a lot, but like, I don't know who this movie is supposed. I know it's who it's supposed to be about, but who's it actually about? Because like, it feels like, I don't know, like. I'll talk about it later, but
it's more about Josh Gad's character, if I'm being frank. Like,
it does feel like that. And like, I know in reality, Thurgood Marshall wasn't there for the verdict. But like, neither was the woman in reality, but she's there for dramatic effect. So like, why not have him in the courtroom for dramatic effect? Also, again, in the reality of the case, the NAACP hired, whatever his name is, Sam Friedman, specifically to argue the case because they thought it would go over better. There wasn't like this weird like conflagration of like Thurgood Marshall wasn't allowed to try the case or not. Like, and it's the same problem with every other biopic. It's like, okay, well, I want to know the real story, and then it's like, okay, well, this is nothing like how it's supposed to be.
Well, I think they're trying to set it up like Thurgood Marshall was, and we'll get into it, whatever. We'll just talk about it. Like, here's what happens. The rest of the movie, it's basically court procedural. You find out that, at some point, Thurgood Marshall almost gets the shit beat out of him. He kicks the crap out of two people. Josh Gad throws a punch and gets the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
But that galvanizes their relationship, and now they're in the trenches together.
Again, also didn't actually happen.
Right. That makes sense. Thurgood Marshall got a good working punch, though. So then...
It reminded me of, Undercover Brother with Neil Patrick Harris. It's like, all right, you down, you in now. It's like, he's in. Because it's basically like, oh, you're one of us now. And it's like, that's reductive and weird. Like, that's not how anything works. Like, I think my main problem with this movie is, everybody's a fucking cartoon. And I know everybody was incredibly racist, and it was like that. But it's just nobody has any depth to them in this movie. I don't feel like almost at all, except for Sterling K. Brown, who's barely in the movie.
Yeah, Sterling K. Brown's bringing the most lumber. They're trying with Josh Gad, and they're trying with Thurgood Marshall, trying to explore his personal life and his relationship with his wife, the pain of their miscarriage and all this other stuff.
So glossed over, and it feels like it should be a pretty deep and relevant part of his life, especially because she dies not long after that in reality. She died in the 50s. Yeah, he remarried. Yeah.
So,
did he remarry that hot chick at the bar?
Yeah, he married the hot chick at the bar. That's canon.
Yeah.
His wife died, and he remarried less than a year later.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Pulled a Bob Kraft on her. So now...
Well, speaking of Bob
Kraft, Bob Kraft didn't wait till the coffin was in the ground.
Yeah, that ink was still wet, sir.
To bring your joke home, Thurgood Marshall did marry an Asian lady, so...
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So... they
More
figure out...
wheel references, please.
Hell yeah. Marshall's got something for everybody. So now, they kind of after Thurgood Marshall gets jumped to the bar and gets hit on by this lady, he comes to the conclusion that maybe Kate Hudson was trying to just get some because her husband's a piece of shit.
He gets beat up by the goon from the comic book of the same name.
That dude's like the literal goon, right? Like the dude is that is amazing. That look was spot on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. When that dude pulled that shotgun out from behind the bar, I was like, he might be able to walk through that shotgun. This guy is a meat mountain.
Real meat mountain.
So now, so then they go back and they try the case some more, and they did jury selection, and it wasn't as fun as the Devil's Advocate, but it was, it was fine. And
wasn't as fun as the Devil's Advocate, Ray God.
The voir dire scene was not as good as the Devil's Advocate. So they argue the case. They kind of get Kate Hudson. They make everybody kind of look like dicks. Not as fun as My Cousin Vinny, but they do it.
Not as fun as My Cousin Vinny raves gogs.
But My Cousin Marshall.
You got all the great box quotes on this episode.
So they do the thing, and Dan Stevens is very arch, and he's like Dennis Reynolds level arch and a dick.
He's so. I know this is going to be a weird thing to say, so excuse me if we lose any woke credit because of me. He's so arch in the movie, he comes across as coded queer.
So he's very. You didn't think about the smell. Thurgood. What about the smell?
But you know what I mean? He's so
he's Patrick Bateman. It's so. They rabble rouse and they do their shit and they make everyone uncomfortable, and then at the end of the day, you're led to believe that the Southern juror that Thurgood Marshall kept on the jury said it was all good when she saw some ink hit a bucket of water, and
so damp for Josh Gad.
And all the ladies are damp. When they go to see Sterling K. Brown there's this weird scene where this sexy lady walks by and she just gives him the twinkle eyes, and then and then you meet Josh Gad's wife and he's outkicked his coverage by, he's in a different league. He's not even playing the same sport.
I do have a question regarding the nebulous time space continuum in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Is that where they are?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing because she's Southern, she doesn't like Yankees. I don't know. It's just bizarre that's like a plot point. Like, well, you know what she hates more than colored people is Yankees. It's like, what about fat Jews?
Right.
In
How do you feel about fat Jews?
There's also a strange scene in this movie where a Holocaust joke is buttoned up with a knife switch when someone has to answer a door.
Yeah. There's also that like weird scene where I guess they got their Snapple fact about Thurgood Marshall only having one ball that has to get worked into the script for whatever reason.
That was a fun. That made me laugh.
I actually like that line. I
like that line.
It was
fine. My back open. That was less painful than watching you litigate this case. I was like, he was dunking on Josh Gad just the entire film.
How can you not dunk on Josh Gad? Look at that guy.
I also didn't think Josh Gad was bad in the movie.
I think I just find Josh Gad like actually repulsive, like physically. And
yeah, I don't think he was bad in the movie. There's just something I bring outside of the film. I just don't like. There's something.
You can't separate the part from the part.
It's that Rob Riggle thing from Step Brothers, or it's like I don't like your face. Like I just don't.
You're doing a great job, but there's something about your face that wants me to just want to punch it in. So you find out, it's all good. Joseph Spell is now free to commit atrocities that Dan Stevens accused him of. Josh Gad is enjoying either a smoke or a nap or a smoke nap in his office, and he gets to talk to Thurgood Marshall, who is now down in, I think it was Mississippi, to go. And they showed some horrific picture of some poor child hogtied. After he got, I assume it was probably what the actual picture looked like, after he was accused of killing some police officer. So I meant to actually look up what that case was about, see how that went. And then the movie ends. You find out, you hear about how many times Thurgood Marshall argued in front of the Supreme Court, and they find Sam Friedman became a tireless advocate for civil rights. Credits.
Yep.
It's mostly a court procedure with a little bit of extra drama thrown in there. Like the plot of the movie is not. I'm just gonna start saying it. The plot of the movie is not great. The plot's not. It's kind of bland and straightforward. There's not a lot of, but it's got a lot of really good actors.
I thought
the movie
good performances.
It doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, sorry, what?
What's wrong, Alec?
Nothing.
Is everybody talking over each other?
Yeah, everybody. It's nonstop.
Sorry. Okay.
I'll cede the floor to Sean. Go.
Thank you. The movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, ostensibly, it's a biopic because it's called Marshall, and it should be about Thurgood Marshall, but it's really just about the Spell case. So it should be about him, like, structurally. And there's an interesting story to tell about a guy who's not a good guy, but is still innocent. But that part is really kind of glossed over for a reason.
Well, they did the end of the 8 Mile, take all the bullets out of the gun against Papa Doc move, where they're like, just bring up all the bad shit.
But it's kind of like the George Floyd thing, right? Like, George Floyd, ostensibly wasn't a great guy, but that doesn't mean what happened to him should have happened to him in the same way that, like, just because this guy may not have been a good guy does not mean he should be railroaded by a racist justice system.
Correct.
But that it's not really about that. It's just about how smart Thurgood Marshall is, which obviously he was, but it doesn't really get too deep into that either. I don't feel like I know anything more about any of the people in this movie than I did going into it.
Did the Joseph? My only question, because it's the way it's framed up, is that the Joseph Spell case will be make or break for the NAACP. Like, they lose this case, the NAACP will lose any funding, any support, any grounds.
Well,
they say that, right?
They say that about 30 times in the movie.
So was that? I'm assuming that was the truth. Like, this was truly like the case that saved the NAACP.
I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there. Probably not, but like I think this movie, like, I don't know. This is gonna be an interesting episode because I'm just gonna go out on Front Street. I enjoyed the movie, but I knew nothing about the real case, and I don't really care. Like, I think this movie is kind of, and it's fucked up because I can see both sides, but this movie is kind of divorced from reality in a weird way. So, like, yeah, it is for the service of the plot. Who knows if it's probably not in real life, because, like, I don't think it's, like, you guys have already discussed throughout that almost nothing in this movie is accurate. So it's like, you know what I mean? No, like, I'm sure that there was other cases that were just as bad or whatever or worse.
I mean, there's other cases he argued.
I don't really feel like this movie's even trying to be accurate. Like, it's weird. Quite honestly, it's weird that they have this stinger where they're like, well, this all happened and this, because like they don't care the rest of the movie, obviously. Like, they're just trying to make a movie. Like, I don't know. It's strange. It's strange it's a biopic, really, quite honestly, because it's not. I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was pretty compelling. I thought all that. I personally, like, I agree that, like, it's a very boilerplate Time to Kill, like, sort of procedural courtroom movie. But I thought all of the performances I thought were really good, and I thought it elevated the material. I thought James Cromwell was good. I thought Dan Stevens was good. They're all, like, mustache-twirling racists. But, like, I don't know. I
agree. I think
it was enough to keep me invested. I know that's a low bar to pass, but, like, I wasn't, like, bored. I felt like it moved at a good pace.
I was interested in the court case. I didn't look it up. I didn't want to like spoil whether.
And again, I knew nothing about the real. The sad thing is, dude, and this is embarrassing, I guess. I barely knew anything about Thurgood Marshall. I didn't even know he was from Baltimore, which is kind of insane. Like, I guess I'm just a racist.
No, I mean that's why the airport's named after him now.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in Baltimore named after him because he lived in Baltimore. Yeah. And when that line where he talks about how like he couldn't get into the University of Maryland. Thanks, God. You run the school, I assume. But like,
or at least in the 40s.
In the 40s.
Yeah. My ghost was there.
Gogs is a time traveling vampire.
Your ghost.
Also, in the 40s, the University of Maryland and College Park was in walking distance of Baltimore.
Is that right?
Well, that's what they say.
He means University of Maryland Law School, which is in Baltimore. It's downtown.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, my dad went there.
Oh, where is that?
It's University of Maryland. It's right. It's like
your dad went to law school.
Yeah, dude.
He's a lawyer. Yeah.
I didn't know
his dad has like 5 master's degrees or doctorate.
Well, I knew that. I didn't know your dad was technically a lawyer though.
Yeah, no, he's not even. Yeah, he's
And look at you.
I'm a piece of shit.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know what to do with it.
It's all that Latin blood dragging you down.
Right. Well, she's got a couple of master's degrees too.
Gogs' mom's really smart too.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, but no, it's like I agree with you, TJ. Like the case. Like I was interested. I was watching the whole thing. I wasn't checking my phone. The case was like. It didn't have as many twists and turns, and it wasn't like super like. And there's more landmark cases he's argued, like Plessy versus Ferguson and like Brown versus Board of Education, but I don't think those probably have the dramatic appeal.
And Batman v Superman.
But
the dawn of justice.
Yeah.
DOJ. That's where they got the Department of Justice.
That's where they got it from.
God. Are you saying that Brown versus the Board of Education is not as compelling a case as this one murder trial?
But I think personally it's a more compelling case, but no one got attemptedly raped for the Board of Education. I guess.
As far as you know,
it's not sexy.
It's not right. It's not headline. It's headline grabbing. I mean, I think it's a much more important case.
Sensationalism.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Plessy versus Ferguson. Both of those are much more important and interesting cases, but like they're not. Or they're more landmark, but they just don't have like Alex said, they're not sensationalized. They're not.
I think Alex right about the sensational thing because this feels a lot like a fucking TV movie.
Right, it's like a Lifetime original, but it is supported up by really good performances. Like I can't think of a bad performance in the movie.
Well, no, and it makes me even more sad for Chadwick Boseman because he's in so many movies like this. Where it's like he's got to do an impression, and he does a great job. Like, he's good in the movie, but the material just kind of
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Five Knuckle Shuffles. We devoted way too much time to Justice League, but I kind of figured that was going to happen.
Well, there's a lot of justice throughout this entire.
We really should have just made Justice League the movie this week, but like it felt awful to ask all of y'all to watch a 4-hour-long movie, though we all did. Somebody didn't. Somebody didn't.
One of these things is not like the other.
When are you going to watch it, Gox?
I'll find time. I'll come
over and watch it if you want to watch it. I'll watch it again.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Just make some food.
Okay, let's plan on having an afternoon of just staring and drinking and barbecue. Okay.
I'll come down. Got that new projector.
Yeah, fucking
weird.
Hey,
real quick. So this is to the Justice League people that watch this, because I didn't even realize it. Why wasn't the movie full screen?
Because it's he shot it like an IMAX movie. It's just
okay.
That's why everybody seems like incredibly tall in the movie. Like I figured you would have liked that. I know how you love a weird aspect ratio.
Well, it's something I didn't notice until you pointed it out on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like I didn't even pick it out. Anyway, all right, 5 knuckle shuffle time. Alec, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Justice League gets a 7.
Nice. Oh, we're giving them both scores. Okay, I like that.
Marshall, I'm gonna give Marshall an 8. Like I really enjoyed it. I thought the performances were all good. Josh Gad can be irritating. I didn't find him irritating in this. I thought he did a good job. Chadwick Boseman, man, like, guy's a hell of an actor. Dan Stevens and James Cromwell were both perfectly cromulent. And Sterling K. Brown's outstanding. Like,
why is that guy not in more movies, man?
Oh, why is he not a leading man ever? Like,
he's
even
so
the movies
good.
he's in. What?
Yeah, you're right.
Why?
We don't know why. What did he do?
Because he's black.
Like,
that's why he's not a leading man in more things.
Well, I mean, Chadwick Boseman's black, and he was the leading man in a ton of stuff. Like, why can't Sterling K. Brown
there's only room for one.
There's only room for one. That, like, in Hollywood's like the no homers club when it comes to black actors. Like, we're allowed to have one. For a while it was Denzel Washington, and then it was Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, you know
he's so good.
The sad thing is Sean is absolutely right.
Like, the stuff he's done, like, what's that hotel movie?
Hotel Artemis. I like him in that.
Yeah, he's good in Hotel Artemis. He's good in Predator.
He's really good in Waves. If you've seen Waves.
I haven't seen Waves. I really
he's great in his one scene in Black Panther.
What?
He's in the opening scene of Black Panther.
Oh, that's right. Back in like the flashback to the.
He's what's his name's dad? He's Killface, Kilgore, Kill.
Oh yeah,
Killmonger.
Shit, I forgot all about that. Yeah, Kilgore, that's his name.
He's also he's got the best line in Predators as well.
Yeah, hell
all
yeah.
Those lines in Predators are awesome.
I don't give a shit. Movie the podcast puts their flag down. The Predator is fucking awesome. That movie
rocked.
Yeah. All you people fucking suck. That movie is awesome.
But I really enjoyed Marshall. I thought it was really good. I thought everybody was really good in it.
Yeah.
I think the director, I looked up the director, and I believe he really hasn't done. Or no, wait, am I getting confused by the director? No, this guy's done a few things that were okay.
Yeah, Sean's
maybe
right.
not.
He's a writer. I didn't realize that was the same guy. At first, I looked at it real quick, and I thought it was Rennie Harlan. I was like, oh, shit.
Rennie Harlan's third Marshall.
He's directed a bunch of episodes of TV shows and stuff. He directed Boomerang. He directed House Party.
Hell yeah.
He directed The Great White Hype.
I love that.
Yeah, he directed The Ladies' Man, which I watched today, and that movie's outstanding.
That movie slaps. That's my opinion. I can have it if I want to.
He's a pretty good, some of the stuff he's directed is pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm happy that somebody picked it. Doug.
I am also going to give it an 8, and it's getting an 8 because it is, like I said, the story is, it's a court procedural. It's not bad. It's compelling. I enjoyed it. But like the performances are really, really good. Like I think Sean said, or Alec, like Josh Gad is. When I hear Josh Gad's name, my initial thought is, but I thought he was really good in this, and I really thought it was more his. They kind of do frame the movie more around him than Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is just like dripping swagger. He's great in it. Cromwell's great in it. Dan Stevens great in it, and Sterling K. Brown just a fucking an echo chamber. Completely, he's underused, but every scene he's in, like he's just like he's acting like you can see it in his eyes and shit. Like he's just really, really, really good. Kate Hudson was really good in it. Like it's a solid court. As far as a biopic concerned, this is probably as good as a biopic's going to get, unless you're talking about I don't know what's a better biopic that's like remotely true. Batman v Superman, I guess. But
I like the Johnny Cash one. Sean hates that movie, but
Walk the Line's good.
Walk the Line, I enjoyed that movie.
And Walking Tall is good. That's probably the best biopic I've seen. Not Walking
Tall. That's not a biopic.
Walking Tall it's about Buford Pusser.
Would you consider that a biopic? It's like
he's a man with a stick and has The Rock in it.
Rebooted with Charlotte Flair as the lead, apparently.
Oh God, no, thank you.
I've got a little bit of fun trivia about the director of this film. Apparently, it's in post production or it's in pre-production. Is a Shadow Man movie for those of you who played I don't know if it was a comic book, but
he wrote the
Shadow Man. Oh, there's a comic.
There was like a long running series. There was
I just played that 64.
There was two versions.
That's when Acclaim bought them, right? And bought Valiant and made all those comics.
There's two versions of Shadow Man. There was one that was like a regular type superhero, and then the one you're talking about who was like a voodoo based superhero.
Well, you're getting the voodoo based one apparently. In a jazz musician finds himself possessed by an ancient spirit of vengeance and leads him into a new and unexplored world of voodoo and dead spirits.
I mean, honestly, that could be a cool movie.
The video game was unnerving, so it'd be fun.
Is that the one where they were paying people to put fucking Shadow Man advertisements on their loved ones' tombstones?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, the video game, yeah.
I missed the 90s. All right.
It was awesome.
There we go. Sean.
I'm going to give Justice League a 7. Just because I can't like recommend it as an actual movie, but like if you love just weird artifacts like I do, I can recommend it. And then this I'll give a 6. Like, if it wasn't because the performances are excellent, like everybody said, but it's just a very boilerplate movie, and I don't think it really delves into too much of what's a very like interesting subject, especially when it comes to kind of like the way that the criminal, well, still now, but then to the justice system treated like black citizens. So it's just kind of like, whatever. And again, I don't feel like I knew much more about Thurgood Marshall than I would know from like a book report in 6th grade. But yeah, like everybody's good in it. But it just didn't resonate with me like that.
Fair enough. Justice League gets a... God, it's tough, right? Because like, how can I give something that I really only liked an hour out of like a good score? I guess it gets a 6. I really want to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4 because the parts that I liked, I can't justify sitting through 3 hours of what I didn't like. So it gets a 4. It's on the negative scale, not the positive scale. It just, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't. Like, as a whole, it's not good. But there are things about it that I enjoyed. But to get there took so fucking long. It's just not... I can't give it a positive score, so it gets a 4. I will give Marshall a 7. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought... I don't know. It's like everybody said. I guess like I went into it without worrying about its historical accuracy, which may or may not be like a great way to watch a movie that's supposed to be historically accurate. But I thought as like its own movie, I thought it was interesting enough. I really enjoyed the performances. Again, Chadwick Boseman's fantastic in it. Sterling K. Brown's really, really good in it. I thought the villains were good, even though they were very like one note. I did like some of the Cromwell stuff. Like there's moments where Cromwell like has to surpass his racism because like they made a good point. Like I know that's dumb, but it was like, I don't know, I kind of appreciated stuff like that.
He's torn between doing legally what he has to do.
Yeah.
Or ignoring facts because he's a horrible racist.
Yeah. But like he's already like put them behind the 8 ball in the movie with all the shit that he's done, so you're kind of like, well, is he going to do it? Is he not? I don't know. Overall,
he does a good job portraying like some struggle with that.
Yeah, it's that pivot where like Dan Stevens asked the question and Sterling K. Brown gives that like just horrific like and moving answer. Yeah. And then since Dan Stevens, you know, he pulls a Trump, he didn't get the answer he wants, so wants a redo, and like just strike that from the record. It's like no.
Yeah.
And you can see him. He's like, yeah, it's in.
But I mean, I don't know. Again, I know it's a low bar, but I just think about a lot of the other movies we watched. I wasn't mad watching this movie. I wasn't ever bored. I felt like this movie moved at a pace. I agree, like, with a lot of the points Sean brought up, where if I stopped and thought about more of, like, what was going on, I'd probably be a lot more upset about it and not like it. Like, the radical, the radical black power movement where like it was like the Black Power Justice League shows up and they all are drinking at that jazz bar. It's like, all right, that is a little silly, but overall, I mean, I still thought it was a pretty good movie. Like, I enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a 7 for me, dog. That's it. No, Gogs, have you gone?
I went, yeah.
All right, that's it. So who gets next? Who's already gone?
I've gone.
I've gone because I had my birthday pick.
So it's Alec.
It's my pick. We are watching 21 Bridges.
Oh my God! Finally.
Yeah, I guess we have to. Right?
We've talked about this movie for years. We've each seen this trailer 400 times. So yeah, it's finally 21 Bridges. I'll put it on the Plex server tonight.
Just kidding. Simmons, Taylor Kitsch, Keith David.
Oh, how many of you forgot that Just Kidding Simmons was Gordon in the Justice League movie? Because I did.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember, I was thinking about this, do you remember, like, they kept showing pictures of him?
Yeah, he got jacked.
Like,
and you don't see him. Yeah, he's in his coat the whole time.
Yeah, he's not topless.
Oh, I wish he was.
TOPPLES.
Topless. How about you get topless? All right, everybody. I think that's the show. 21 Bridges. That's the sequel to 20 Bridges.
21.
The prequel to 19 Bridges.
And also the sexy sister film to 21 Jump Street.
Yes. Oh. Yes. All right, everybody. See you next week. Hopefully we'll have a website by then. Oh, if not, please like and subscribe.
With that loud about.